In the entire Legend of Zelda series, there is only one character who we've seen in multiple games but still know nothing about. The Happy Mask Salesman. Everything about him is just clouded in mystery. How did he travel from Hyrule to Termina? How did he end up with Majora's Mask? Where did all of his other masks come from? Why does he seem to be the only person besides Link who can play songs with magical powers? Join me as we uncover the mystery of the Happy Mask Salesman. We are first introduced to the Happy Mask Salesman in Ocarina of Time. He seems like any other normal NPC, but occasionally has violent outbursts. He helps Link with his adventures in Hyrule, but when Link becomes an adult he magically disappears and no one in the game seems to even remember who he is or where he has gone. After the events of Ocarina of Time, we are reintroduced to the Happy Mask Salesman in a more prominent role, but the more we come to know about him, it seems the less we actually know. He tells us he has been following Link and knows how to turn him to his normal self. After retrieving the ocarina on the third day, the Happy Mask Salesman teaches us the Song of Healing from a very large piano that seemingly appears from nowhere. If we fail to save Termina before the third day ends, the salesman is heard laughing and time rewinds to the moment when we first met him. The last time we are introduced to the Happy Mask Salesman, he isn't even in Hyrule or Termina. In Oracle of Ages, the Happy Mask Salesman owns a mask shop on the outskirts of Lina City. He is starving and will give Link the doggy mask in exchange for something to eat. Now, how is he able to travel to a parallel world? How does he have knowledge of ancient masks? In Majora's Mask, it is shown that every character from Hyrule has a doppelganger in Termina. Could it be possible that the salesman is Termina's version of Link? I know they look nothing alike, but just hear me out. In the salesman's travels, he comes across rare and magical objects. He learns magical songs, and he learns a wealth of knowledge about rare items and ancient civilizations from his adventures. Sound familiar? Link also finds rare and magical items on his adventures, learns magical songs, and learns secrets from ancient tribes. And to make an even stronger connection, in Ocarina of Time, the Happy Mask Salesman turns his Hyrule counterpart Link into a Happy Mask Salesman. Link, as we know, has an instrument in which he can play magical songs to turn back time, heal grieving souls, and many other things. In Majora's Mask, if we let the clock count down, we hear the salesman laugh. He then talks to us, and finally we are taken back to the moment when we first met, and the 3 days start all over again. Does he also know the Song of Time? Maybe he came across it on his travels as well. He is also the one who teaches us the Song of Healing on his own instrument. Teaching other characters songs within the game is something that Link is also known to do. Could all of those masks on his back have come from tortured souls that he also helped heal on his adventures? Also, going back to the Song of Time, if we enter the clock tower, time seems to freeze. Could this also be an effect of the salesman knowing the Song of Time? At the end of the game, the Happy Mask Salesman finally obtains his mask, which has seemingly lost its power, and now is an ordinary mask. Since he is in the middle of his travels, he bids farewell, and seemingly suggests Link should return to Hyrule. Before disappearing into nothingness, the salesman bows and remarks all of the people Link has managed to make happy. Could the salesman vanishing be caused by him playing his own warp song that he learned on his adventures? If we connect these similarities which only Link and the salesman both share, aside from Zelda in some instances, then we can come to the conclusion that the salesman may be Termina's counterpart of Link, which could also explain why no one in Hyrule seems to really know the salesman or mention his disappearance while Link is an adult. I mean, even the carpenter remarked on how his son disappeared after Link becomes an adult. This doesn't explain how he has managed to appear in multiple timelines though. We've covered him in the child timeline, but what about his appearance in the downfall timeline? He appears hundreds of years after the events taken place in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask in Lina City from Oracle of Ages. Is it possible that his adventures after Ocarina of Time and Link's death have led him to his new land? In Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, all he did was try to help Link and bring happiness to both worlds. After Link's death in the downfall timeline, maybe he was saddened and continued his journey to Labrina, waiting for his chance of redemption to help the new descendant of Link and help guide him on his adventure as he did with the Hero of Time. He had already saved Hyrule and Termina, maybe this was his chance to save a completely different land. For those that don't know, the Link in A Link to the Past, which takes place in Hyrule, is also the same Link from Link's Awakening and the Oracle of Ages and Seasons game. This isn't the last time we see the salesman though. Many speculate that Ravio from A Link Between Worlds, the spiritual sequel to A Link to the Past, is also the Happy Mask Salesman. Although they share some of the same features, they have their physical differences, and I'll get to that later. But for now, let's compare their similarities. Both are always seen wearing a lot of purple. Ravio is constantly wearing the purple bunny hood as a mask to cover his face. He has Majora's Mask hanging on the wall, and a shop full of items that help Link on his adventures. Why would he have such a powerful mask just hanging on the wall though? After the events of Majora's Mask, the power within the mask was defeated and the mask was restored, but that takes place in a different timeline. Maybe the salesman is beyond this world as we know it, and with a possible song he learned on his adventures or through the power of the masks he has collected, maybe he can travel between the timelines, which would help explain why he appears hundreds of years after the events of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask to help Link in Oracle of Ages. In A Link Between Worlds, maybe he switched to helping Link with weapons instead of masks. Ravio is also seen to be a parallel of Link, similar to the theory that the salesman is a parallel version of Link. But could they both be the same person? The fact that Ravio has no courage may make you think otherwise, as it seems the salesman is just as brave as Link. But maybe that's why he collects the masks to help Link, the real hero. Could he have collected the masks on his adventures and used them to hide behind? Being shameful of his own cowardness, maybe he used the masks to give himself bravery and a false sense of power. This could be why he traveled to collect Majora's Mask. What use would he have with it anyways if he had no intentions of using it? Maybe he felt with the power of the mask he would have no reason to be a coward. Instead of living in fear, he would be powerful enough for his enemies to fear him, and it would give him a false sense of courage. But was fear always a trait of the salesman, or did it develop between Link dying after Ocarina of Time and the new Link from A Link Between Worlds? Could this fear have come from not being able to help Link save everyone? Either way, some fear is also shared between the two. Both salesmen lack the courage Link has, both are too afraid to confront their own problems, and both help Link with their items or masks, and guide Link on his journey with the secret intent of solving their own problems through Link. Also, if you play through A Link Between Worlds on Hero Mode, we will also come across Ravio's journal with another reference to Majora's Mask. Giving a reference to the 3-day cycle, it says, 3 days to go. She wants to do the right thing, I want to help her, but leaving is my only option. 2 days to go. She's being duped. Doesn't she realize that? He's just a leech. There's no choice but to go. That in itself could be a reference to Majora's Mask just using the Skull Kid and the Happy Mask Salesman's feeling on the mask controlling Skull Kid and just using him. Since the Skull Kid thinks that he is in control of the mask when in reality, it is the other way around. 1 day to go. I have so little magic, enough to go there, but maybe not to come back. But tomorrow must be the day. I may never see her again, but I vow to save her from all of this. Traveling between worlds and using magic seem to be another trait the two share. Could the magic he uses be coming from Majora's Mask? The mask could have poisoned his weak mind, which is why he seemed a little bipolar in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. But with the evil removed from the mask, he was able to turn back to his normal self. As I said earlier, while Ravio and the Mask Salesman do have different looks, maybe the Happy Mask Salesman was wearing a mask of his own the whole time. If Link wears a mask, he can transform into a mix between himself and the person he retrieved the mask from. Maybe Ravio saved someone or came across the mask which transformed him into the person we know as the salesman, or vice versa. Which is why they have an obvious difference in height, but still share many physical similarities. One small bonus fact before I end this, the salesman shares a lot of the same characteristics as Rupin. Many believe that he is an ancestor of the salesman, but could it also be that Rupin was also just another mask that was being worn? His name Rupin is similar to Rupee, the currency used throughout the Zelda series, and in Ocarina of Time, it seems to be the only thing the salesman cares about, and Ravio is also seen wearing a ruby around his waist. Another small hint is that both Ravio and Rupin's name both start with an R, and they are both 5 letters long. Rupin is a character in Skyward Sword. He runs the gear shop in the Skyloft Bazaar, where he sells Link a variety of items, including shields, Deku seeds, bombs, seed satchels, bomb bags, quivers, arrows, and more, all of which are weapons and items each hero collects on their own adventures, strengthening that the salesman could be Termina's failed hero. At night he can be seen in his home in the residential district on the southern easternmost part of Skyloft. In contrast to his assumed personality during the day, Rupin behaves rudely towards Link at night, similar to how the Happy Mask Salesman has violent outbursts and a bipolar personality. Using the Song of Time to travel back and forth between the timelines, and using masks to change his appearance, maybe he has always been there behind the scenes to help Link on his adventures, offering advice, items, masks, or whatever help Link may need on his adventure to save the world.